Hey there, toy collector friends and Star Trek fans alike. Welcome back to the channel. I'm the time-travelling toy collector, and this is Book's ship from Star Trek Discovery. It's part of the official Starships collection as produced by Hero Collector and Eagle Moss, and dispatched to me from Master Replicas. It did take a little bit of a while for it to arrive, I won't deny it, but it did also correspond with the Easter break, so I think that's one of the reasons it was a delay in the postage. So I'm not commenting on Master Replicas dispatching of things, but yeah, it did take a little bit longer than perhaps I'd have been keen to wait normally for stuff. But hey, it's arrived. It's part of the recovered stock, fresh from China, and the transport crates in China, and I'm really pleased. I remember seeing this as a display prototype model at the convention Destination Star Trek when it was in London a couple of years ago, and I thought at the time that's going to look really good when it's all painted up and the final deco is on there. It's a very strong representation. And then I nearly purchased it and then prioritised, as I try not to knock the camera over, prioritised some other ships instead, thinking I'll go back and get it next time. Then it was out of stock, and then we were out of Eagle Moss. And so I'm just going to rotate it around so you can see here some of the fantastic detailing before I get my big terrible sort of sausagey finger all over it. It's really well done. The range of textures and surface detailing on this ship is quite spectacular. So from a moulding point of view, it's really, really good for them to be able to get this variety of textures into what is fundamentally pretty much a single shape. A weird shape because, of course, it's one of those sort of programmable matter ships from the far-flung future. But nevertheless, they do a sterling job of capturing the various different textures, the various different layers and levels. In a second, I'll get it in hand so we can take a nice up-close and personal look at it. But again, I know Eagle Moss have had their moments where they've not done the hand painting particularly well, and that's usually around lining up lights and things like that. But a ship like this, which is very sort of abstract, and very, very much not one with tons of lights detailing on the surface, has come out of this extremely well. You can see there on the right hand side where some of that goldy yellow colour paint is being picked out on that piece of what I would describe as engineering. And we'll have a look at the magazine, because yes, this is one of the ships that did come with its magazine, so there may well be some information, I've not looked inside it yet, telling us about the different exterior components of the ship. If you've already got one, you'll know whether or not I'm going to find that. But I think overall this is a really, really great realisation of one of the strange ships. And I'm going to take it in hand now because I also want to show you something else. It's very lightweight, by the way. I don't know if you can see, but it's the design of the stand is asymmetrical. So you've got one quite large space and one that's much thinner. So it's very clearly designed to accommodate the nature of this vessel, he says, now struggling to get it back in. But what it does mean, making a right fiasco of it, and there we go. What it does mean is that it does make sure that that centre of gravity issue that you sometimes have with some of the starships isn't the problem that it has been in the past. So I'm really pleased about that. So let's get this in hand and you can see it. Now again, I will just stress, it is a display model and this really feels like it. There's this side in particular feels very light and flimsy, despite how it looks, very light and flimsy, whereas this section here, clearly, if there's any casting in it at all, I think it's here, because this is where you can really feel the weight, whereas this side, as I say, so don't, although it's almost designed for you to want to pick it up this side, do not, because the weighting is all here, and so I would always support it from below. So again, let's take a look at some of that surface detailing, and I think they do an exquisite job the color scheme on that, what I'm going to call, until I read that and disprove myself by looking at the magazine, sort of the engineering section, the exterior engine areas. That's really, really lovely. There's that sort of almost greenish off. It's I don't know what you'd call it actually. It's almost sort of like a khaki camo type color, but it does sort of exude engineering parts, and the level of detailing around those engineering parts it's really marvelous, I think. So steering away from that as we move along the hull, you can see all of the inbuilt designs there. Then we've got this section here, which we'll look at, which sort of is a natural evolution from the interior. You can see that there. I'll tilt it slightly, move that out of the way, so you can see a bit more of that gold edging there. But there's, yeah, so it sort of fills in the section there. It has almost an organic feel to it as you follow that along on the front. You can see a bit of gapping there, which is part of the design. It's not the ship falling apart, I'm pleased to say. And then we have this over here, so I'll follow it round on the curvature of this aspect of it. I might just move that right out of the way so we can get a bit of a decent light, so you can then see where that gold, yellowish gold paint is being used to really pull out some of the features there of that, what I'm going to continue to call the engineering section. And it really, because it's used so sparsely, it really does, for me, work particularly well. So let's come along the back end now. So there we can see more of this sort of paneling and plate work that forms that midsection as we come along to, again, there's not much to see as we go that way, but that detailing I think is really, really nice. And pulling out the difference between the colour scheme here and the sort of cleaner, fresher metallic colours there, really, really well done. And the fact that you do feel like it's layered. So this is very clearly overlaid here on top of that section that repeats itself on the underside with the same level of quality of detailing. So let's follow it around there. Let's make the bottom the top. And yeah, you can see again, it's not completely identical, but it is almost a mirror of itself. But again, a really, really lovely ship and a really lovely model. Now let's see if I can, without knocking everything over, put this back in without making a complete pig's ear of it. Is it there? Nearly. There we go. So I was just going to stand that back there so you've got that in vision, and I'm going to pull in the booklet which it comes with. It's packaged in the box, so I'm very fortunate because, again, some of the material that's been rescued, which is the gear from Eagle Moss and Hero Collector, do not have magazines, so I'm very, very fortunate to have got a copy of that. So that's the nice glossy front. Apparently it's 42 meters in length in the real world. So as ever, it's a courier ship. We get some specifications around it. We will get inside, yes indeed, we get some very nice detailing of the ship itself. There we have it in flight. It almost reminds me a little of a dagger or some kind of weapon system. So there you get some text talking about the context of the ship. Again, some elevations of the ship itself, which you'll be able to look at should you pick this model up. Discussions around the design, how they designed the ship, what went into it, etc, etc. And of course, lots of lovely images of the ship itself, design sketches, which continue through. So, you know, they cram an awful lot into these little booklets, and I don't know that we necessarily give them all the love that they warrant. And then we have the ship on the back cover, very glossy, very nice, and I do recommend, and I don't do it enough myself, so I hold myself every bit as accountable, but they really do warrant a bit more love than I think perhaps I give them. There's a lot of detail, and a lot of people put a lot of heart and soul and effort into the production of these, and I think I've just checked actually, and I think it's a shame that there's not more reference to the people behind it in the magazines. A couple of people get name checked, which is great, but you know, the team that goes into it, I think it would be really nice if their names were captured, but that's just me. So what do we think about Book's ship as a model? Well, for me, I think it's really great. I think the colour scheme works really nicely. I think the paint jobs are done very well. I think the overall capturing of the likeness of the ship is done particularly well. I'm very happy with how it's turned out, and I'm conscious that I might be biased because I could just be very happy that I've managed to get hold of it. So I fully accept that and take it on board. But I really do think they've done an excellent job of capturing this ship and its likeness, particularly given it's, you know, another one of those odd 32nd century, I think it is, ships that we don't necessarily fully understand or fully appreciate the mechanics of, because they're so different to what we've become accustomed to in our understanding of the Star Trek universe and the Federation's universe. So there is some unknowable qualities and unknown qualities to it, and I really like that we have those to look at and explore in these models, and I hope we see more of them in the future. I most definitely hope for that. So do you think that Book's ship, his little courier ship, deserves a slot on your shelf? If the answer is yes, then I'm very glad that I was able to help you reach that. If the answer is no, I'm equally glad I was helping you to reach that, because there's nothing worse than buying something and then being disappointed in it. So either way, if it's proven helpful to you and you've managed to walk away from here either with an appreciation for it or a complete distaste for it, then please hit the like button, because I've achieved my goal. Similarly, if you could subscribe to the channel, that would be amazing. It's absolutely free to do, and there's, you know, no long-term commitment required, and it will also make sure that you don't miss a future video around other Star Trek Starships that are coming in the near future. Some Star Wars stuff, Transformers stuff, G.I. Joe stuff, Doctor Who stuff, Battlestar Galactica stuff, my goodness me, Space 1999 stuff. There's so much stuff. There's just so much stuff. So hopefully there'll be stuff in here that you like. So do have a little peruse of the channel. I just want to thank you very much for hanging around for the last 13 or so minutes. I've been the Time Travelling Toy Collector. You've been a spectacular audience. And this has been Book's ship from the Star Trek Discovery official Starships collection, as produced by Eagle Moss and Hero Collector, and now available through Master Replicas. Thanks very much for your time. I appreciate it. I hope to see you in a future video. Do remember that a thing of beauty really is a toy forever, one to beam up. Bye-bye for now.